Folks, welcome into sportsbookreview.com. It's Monday, and yep, it's time to talk some Major League Baseball. Now, where we left off Friday is always payday here at sportsbookreview.com, just handing out winners left and right. We hope to continue that today on a Monday. Let's get it started. I'm Donnie Seymour. He's Jason Radowitz, along with Kyle Purviance. We are the sportsbookreview.com Major League Baseball team. And usually on a Monday, we come into it and be like, maybe some decent games out here. I circle it, as LeBron would say, not one, not two, not three, not four, not five, but 6 games on the card tonight, team total-wise, I really like. So let's have some fun. New week, new money. Jason, welcome in. What do you say about a Monday?
Yeah, it's a Monday. It's another week that we can make some profit and make some money. Since Friday, I've been on a little bit of a streak, so hopefully that continues, knock on wood. Yeah, let's keep it going.
It should be some good times here, Kyle. Welcome in on a Monday. Nice little Major League Baseball card. West Coast getting a little bit of nice weather there in Southern California. I don't want to tip my hand on this one, but boy, I'm excited, Kyle. I'm excited.
Yeah, and spoiler alert, but I do think we all like a few of the same spots tonight. So I think there's some really nice spots. It was a great weekend. The sun is shining. The world is opening up. Even Southern California is opening up. Tomorrow's going to be cool uniforms for the Dodgers, I hear. So it's a good thing. This is going to be a lit-ass summer. We're having fun. I'm ready to let it rip. Let's win some money.
Absolutely. Why don't we get right to the Major League Baseball card? And I believe last Monday, I want to say that we were looking at like 2 games and a makeup game, just ridiculousness. But now we got a full card tonight. No afternoon Major League Baseball action, so we can spend some extra time on the card today. But guys, it is the 14th of June. SBR Sports Picks, $20,000 up in Bitcoin for the Major League Baseball contest. Click that link. See what it says top of the chat box right there in yellow, SBR Sports Picks. That is a link to get in. You have to go to the forum, register, and then get in each and every day. Leave your picks on there. No, you can't edit them after the game because one team blew up and had 17 runs and 35 hits. So those things are time-stamped in there, but it's free. It's me. Get in there, guys, and certainly have some fun. And how about this also? 86,500 people have hit the subscribe button here on our YouTube channel. Thank you guys for all the love and support out here. The more people that click seems like the more winners we can give out. But if you hit that subscribe button, turn the notification bell on a Monday, come in and talk some Major League Baseball with us. Chat box is popping today. Now, look, a little bit, we're not going to talk any NBA, but Sixers going to blow out the Hawks a little bit later tonight, but we'll talk about that later. Let's have some fun. Cubs versus the Mets. Jason, you're going to be on deck first. Let's set the table here. Arrieta versus Peterson. One would think you can get to both of these pitchers. How about 8.5s across the board in this game, live from Flushing, Queens? 124 in New Jersey as a favorite, Jason, towards the Mets. 117 offshore at Pinnacle as a favorite towards the Mets. Which way are we looking here in this game? Because as I look for a XFIP number, a guy that's supposed to get rocked, that's usually Jake Arrieta.
Yeah, it's both, really. Peterson, too, especially against a team like the Cubs that destroy lefties. So both of those lineups can do some damage offensively against Arrieta and Peterson, but also know that there's going to be some rain on the forecast. So if there's a delay in that game, you might not get those pitchers. They might get stopped after they go 3 innings or whatever, and then they can't pitch anymore. So yeah, there is poor rain. That's the only one thing that I would tell you guys about. But I mean, the Cubs over 4.5 on the team total against Peterson. They've destroyed lefties so far. 260 ISO, 395 weighted OBA in the last 30 days against lefties for the Cubs. They're striking out a little bit high, but they're really not hitting many ground balls. So I do think the Cubs are the team to play here. Arrieta looked pretty good in his last start, so maybe there's something there. And he's more of a veteran, so he can get the job done more than Peterson can. So I would look at the Cubs here, but I'd go more towards that team total of over 4.5.
It's interesting because you're right, Jason. Look at the lineup. It's like if Patrick Wisdom either hits one 440 feet or he doesn't even touch the baseball here, striking out 46% of the time against left-handed pitchers. But the one thing he is correct with, Kyle, if I look just this year alone versus lefties for the Cubs, let's just say the estimated lineup today. Contreras leading off, 439 weighted on base average. Bryant, 549. Rizzo, 399. Wisdom, 530. And Marisnik, 444. They are absolutely destroying lefties here on the mound, Kyle. Taking a look tonight between the Mets and the Cubs. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, and the weather's the big bummer here. If it wasn't for the weather, this would be one of my official plays of the day. I like that Cubs team total over 4.5. I know we make jokes about the Cubs all the time, but they do rake against lefties. So if I'm betting this game, both lineups do profile well. I like both lineups in DFS. I'm absolutely staying away from both pitchers. I'm looking at a Cubs money line in the first 5 innings at plus 108. Why wouldn't I take the value there? Do I think both teams can score? Absolutely. Do I think Arrieta's a world beater? No. Can the Mets hit Arrieta? Absolutely. But the Cubs just profile a little bit better against that starting pitcher. And, maybe we get that delay, but they've got the 5 innings in. Maybe the game gets called after the 5 because of the weather. So I don't want to mess with the full game here, and that's what's holding me back from that team total. If I knew I was getting a full 9 innings, I'd really like that Cubs team total. So I'm going to shift over here to the first 5 innings money line at plus 108. You're looking at advantages here across the board: 35, 18, 27, 23, 51, and 20%. The only 2 hitters who don't have an advantage are Anthony Rizzo, who actually has the exact same 3-year weighted OPS versus lefties and righties, so he's certainly effective against lefties, and Ian Happ, who is obviously much better against righties. So we're talking about really 7 or 8 hitters here in the lineup who profile really well. I think they get it done in the first 5. You could do a whole lot worse plus money spot today than the Cubs in the first 5 innings.
No doubt about it. It should be an interesting game because you're right. Both of these pitchers should get rocked around. Peterson had a great start to the season, but sort of leaking a little bit of oil at this point. And then you take a look, obviously, at Jake Arrieta, a high xFIP guy. You just have to see if that ball is going to leave the ballpark because, as we know, 2-run home runs and 3-run home runs really do some damage on team totals. But the one thing interesting I want to bring up, Cobb, because you said, like, if rain comes in, you don't want to get caught up in that. We always look to give tips here, whether it's offshore or legal sports books here in the United States. BetMGM, the minute you hit your team total, it's paid out to you. They don't care what happens the rest of the game. So if you get 7 runs in the second inning, they'll pay you out on your team total, even if it rains out in like the 3rd inning at that point. It's a great thing. I haven't had to go the other way where I'm assuming that if it rains out in the 8th inning and the game is off, that you don't even have to pay, I don't know, a unit or whatever that you would have had the loss. So check around to some of these sports that offer stuff like that, because how many times in the past, we've all been in the same boat. Let's just say back in the day, you're taking an over in the game. Over 7.5. They got 10 runs and the game rains out in the 8th. And they're like, Book's like, yeah, we're taking that money as a void here. Good luck with that one. You're like, Jesus, man, it can't catch a break. But this one pays out right away as soon as it hits. So some interesting stuff to go off of. Let's keep moving down the list. 967, 968, Toronto and Boston. Manoah Eovaldi, 130 favorite here for the home team. Boston Red Sox, 9.5 across the board as a total. The one thing I want to know in this game, Jason, is Vladdy Jr. going to hit 1, 2, 3 home runs tonight? I don't know.
Yeah, against Boston, he's been ridiculous in this series. I think he's hitting like 650, if that, and a lot of it is really high exit velocity in the first place. And Eovaldi hasn't been great against righties in the last 73 plate appearances, 432 weighted OBA, ISO of 239, exit velocity 90.3. So there's a lot of potential for that Blue Jays lineup. Of course, at the top of the lineup, they have a lot of righties that can do damage, like Simeon, Guerrero, Bichette, Hernandez, Grichuk, Gurriel. So there's a lot of righties in the lineup that can do damage versus Eovaldi, although Eovaldi has been pretty good so far this season. But I do think the Blue Jays have a chance, and they've had the Red Sox number. Offensively, obviously, they scored 18 runs yesterday. So you look at that, and then Manoah on the mound for Toronto, 4.95 xFIP in the last 30 days, walking 11.5% of batters. Also been pretty bad against lefties. Against righties, he's also having pretty high exit velocity as well. So I do think that this game profiles towards an over 9.5. I think that both teams can definitely score 5 runs in this game and get the job done there. So I'll look at the over 9.5 here.
Yeah, a couple people in the chat box also look. The Northeast, we do have some thunderstorm chances tonight, and it's going to be the same thing in Boston, similar to what we had, and Kyle bringing up between the Mets game and also, obviously, we'll get to the Nationals game a little bit later. But there are warmer temperature weather. But it looks like actually 69 degrees, 69, 67 degrees up in Boston. So not an effectively hot night, which is what you would want for that ball to carry. But it is what it is. Take a look at this game here, Toronto and Boston, Kyle. Give me some thoughts on this one tonight.
Yeah, this one's interesting because I do agree it should play to the over, but that weather does concern me. I would certainly give Eovaldi the slight edge over Manoah, but I will say the Toronto lineup profiles better off of Eovaldi than Boston does off of Manoah. So it kind of makes this one a weird one for me. When I have games like that, I've said this a million times, I think this is a coin flip game. This is real 50-50. Both lineups should be able to hit. So I'm sitting here looking at the Blue Jays. I'm getting plus 115 in the first 5. And I'm like, look, do I think Eovaldi's a better pitcher? Sure. But I think that Toronto lineup can absolutely rake, and they've been on fire. Is there anyone more on fire than Vladimir Guerrero Jr. in all of sports right now, honestly? I mean, the dude is he's 3 straight games. You never see this in DFS, ever. You just don't see this. 3 straight games of 35 fantasy points or more. The guy is absolutely on fire. I don't have anything official on this game, but if I were to bet it, I'd take that plus money and take a sprinkle on the Blue Jays.
And just to show you how hot Vladimir Guerrero Jr., he is now the favorite to win the American League MVP at the FanDuel Sportsbook, overtaking Shohei Ohtani. So that just tells you that this guy is lighting it up. And also keep in mind, I know they're not going into Toronto for about another month. Maybe just for the sake of an MVP for Vladdy, you keep him in that tiny-ass ballpark in Buffalo, and he rocks 55 bombs out and takes home the MVP. It'll be interesting to see, but this guy has been storming since, April 1st, getting up into the MVP race and now taking the lead as the current MVP leader in the American League. So Vladdy Jr. currently on fire, and I'm trying to look for my phone, which I don't have it around me right now, but let me use my hand. Hey, voicemail? Springer's not available again, guys.
Oh, so he's out there running. He's running somewhere. Don't worry. He's running.
Going first to third. He's jogging. He's got sneaks on. He's just about ready to come back. We'll see if he does, because that lineup is going to be fantastic in that tiny-ass ballpark once he does return. But we'll see how that goes. How about 10-10 tonight out on the West Coast? My Philadelphia Phillies taking down the Yankees, making quick work of them. But now you take that, 4.5-hour flight out to L.A., and here we go. So you're going to match up 3-game series, 88 degrees at first pitch tonight. Wind blowing out at 5 miles an hour. Spencer Howard's going to take the mound tonight versus Tony Gonsolin. 157 offshore, as high as 172 here in the state of New Jersey as a favorite towards the Dodgers. 9s as they open, now sitting at 9.5. It's not the greatest looking lineup here for the Dodgers as they profile. But having said that, Spencer Howard, over his major league career, high xFIP, high ERA, FIP numbers not so great. Now you're getting a healthy Dodgers team tonight, and we all know that if Spencer Howard has a really good game, what's he going? 5 innings, which leaves 6, 7, and 8, maybe even 9 for the chance for the Dodgers to get after that Philadelphia Phillies bullpen with nice weather. Jason, I'll start with you first in this game. Dodgers and the Philadelphia Phillies.
So we got Howard on the mound, 6.5 xFIP in the last 30 days. Walking 20.9% of batters, so he's getting guys on base by walking them, but he's also striking out 25.6%. He's not really getting hit hard either. A batting average of balls in play at 190, so that's really where he's kind of escaping from those jams. He's walking guys on base, but he has a high strikeout rate. He's getting late contact with a batting average of balls in play at 190, so it's been really hard for teams to score more than a couple runs against him per start, even though he's been really bad. Now, can the Dodgers, are they able to, hit better and, get a bit better batting average of balls in play against the right-hander? Certainly they should be able to. They've got a 328 BABIP in the last 30 days. Obviously, that lineup's a lot better. Muncy's out of the lineup. Bellinger, I think, got re-hurt, so we'll see how that goes. But, the Dodgers are still... they still profile really well against any pitcher that's right-handed, and Howard is no, really great righty. So I do think the Dodgers are going to be the better team here. Gonsolin, obviously, just his second start of the season, he walked a ton of batters in his first start, didn't really go deep, so you can't expect him to go deep either. But looking back to his stuff last year, he was a lot better than that. He will walk some batters, but he can definitely get outs and go deeper in games. So I would look here at the Dodgers, minus 0.5 in the first 5 here. But, look at the Dodgers lineup, see Bellinger's in there, see what they got in there. I still like them, but it's not my favorite play compared to other games on the slate.
It almost doesn't even matter with that, which is what I joke about, because if they sit one guy down, because if we're taking a look at the lineup here, Kyle, that's anticipated to be coming up tonight versus Howard, the righty, look at the seasonal numbers versus righties. Betts, 353, Lux, 335, Turner, 365. Bellinger actually struggling a little bit at 300, but then it goes to Will Smith, 401, Taylor, 351, Beatty, 361, Pollock, 327. And you say, well, maybe they get to the bench. And some of these guys are injured, I understand, but when the Dodgers go to their bench, it's like Muncy, 387, Luis, 407, Peters, 553, Barnes 343, Seager 332. And again, I know some of those guys are injured, but it's an embarrassment of luxuries. Usually when you go to when the Phillies go to the bench, it's like Ronald Torreyes. It's like, come on, man, this ain't even fair out here in these streets. But anyway, overall, Kyle, looking at these two lineups coming in, Spencer Howard doesn't have a long track record in Major League Baseball. So even if you take out like the AAA and a couple starts this year, even moving back to last year, take a look at his numbers. A 117 xFIP minus, which is above average, an ERA of 5.45, a FIP of 4.92, and an xFIP of 5.03. When we talk team launch angle, 88 degrees with the wind blowing out, it doesn't bold that well here for Spencer Howard for me, Kyle.
No, it doesn't. And I like that Dodgers. It's one of my favorite team totals on the slate tonight. Absolutely. And the one thing that gives me a little pause, and it was a sharp comment in the comment box. That's exactly where I was going. You're not going to get a lot of innings out of Howard. 2, 3 innings. Maybe he gets to the 4th inning. And then it looks like Suarez will be the guy in long relief tonight who's a lefty. We all know we don't like the Dodgers versus lefties. Now, again, this is a Phillies bullpen, so it's a different kind of lefty. It's sort of a dummied down lefty, if you will, because it's coming out of that Phillies bullpen. Sorry, and by the way, the Phillies have been on a nice roll. One of the hotter teams in baseball, 7-3 in their last 10 games. They've won 4 straight. They've really closed that gap with the Mets. So for me, if I know I'm hoping for 3 innings of Howard at least, because I know that's I'm going to get.
If he goes 3 innings, Dodgers are up 7-1. So
that's what I'm looking for here. Is I want that mediocre righty in the first 5 innings. I can get the Dodgers minus 0.5 in the first 5 at minus 115 against a subpar righty. Now, they don't have a great guy pitching. Gonsolin is pitching tonight for the Dodgers. And it's not like he's anything special. But again, we're talking about the Phillies lineup that can put up a dud against anybody. I know they've been hitting better lately. So for me, I like that Dodger. It's going to be on my value. It's going to actually be my official play of the day. And we'll get to that. But I like the Dodgers minus 0.5 in the first 5. I think they jump out to a big lead off of Howard. They may give up some runs, but they should have enough to cover it. So for me, Dodgers minus 0.5 in the first 5. Do you want to take the run line too? I don't mind either. I do think they jump up to a lead. I usually don't take run lines. It's not my thing in baseball. But again, we're getting that Phillies bullpen after a subpar starting with this Dodgers lineup. And I also, the home run prop for Cody Bellinger, plus 300. Over the last 3 years, now he hasn't pitched all 3 years, but Spencer Howard's given up a 959 weighted OPS to left-handed hitters. Obviously, Cody Bellinger smashes righties. You get him at plus 300 on that home run prop. We called that last week. He didn't get it. Let's get his second home run tonight. So I like that Bellinger prop as well.
Yeah, and one of my favorite things to read here is because the Dodgers don't hit lefties. So if that was the case, everybody's just throw lefties, and the Dodgers wouldn't even have a single win this year. So, I mean, that's not really the case on that. And I guess if it's the lefties are
just not as good,
why don't you bring up a single A lefty and dominate the Dodgers every night then if that's so
exactly.
easy to do?
It needs to be a good lefty.
Yeah.
It needs to be a good lefty. You can't just put out a can lefty and go, oh, he's a lefty, the Dodgers are going to suck. It's the best lineup in baseball. That's just stupid, right? So you're 100% right about that, and that has been the narrative, and people are just overblowing it. Absolutely.
No, it is. I mean, I understand like some teams struggle with going against each other, but if that was the case, the Dodgers shouldn't have a single win and never faced a right-handed pitcher this year. So we'll see how that plays out there. But an interesting one. And I got to tell you, I love the Phillies. I like watching the Phillies. I like betting on the Phillies and the Dodgers, whatnot. I'll be lucky if I see 3 pitches in this game. So this might be one where I just roll over in the middle of the night and have some fun with this one, see if we take some of these winners down. Value menu wagers on the card today. It's a big card today. And I have to tell you, I'm going to start here first with a little bit of fast food action. It's a game that I woke up this morning, and by 7:30 a.m., I'm staring at this going, I don't know if this feels right now, but it certainly makes a lot of sense. And I'm talking about Minnesota and Seattle here, heading up to the Pacific Northwest up by Kyle. And whenever Gonzalez is on the mound, he is a lefty. He's not a power pitcher, high xFIP guy. Now, you are in a pitcher's ballpark, but I got to tell you, I look at the Minnesota Twins lineup today, and if it goes as planned, they should detonate Gonzalez. And they don't, it's not like, hey, Donna, they got to get 6 runs here to cash this total like we've seen the New York Yankees when they went up to play Minnesota. Now Minnesota goes out west. 3.5 at minus 145 it was this morning at BetMGM. Their team total now is 3.5 minus 160. This was all I bet the game already, but I'm not going to give that out as my best bet because a little bit too high juice range. And if you're not using BetMGM in some other place, I can only get 4.5 or 4, whatever it is. It's still a really solid play. So I fired them this morning and played it. I don't see any reason to believe here that the Minnesota Twins are not getting 4 runs against Gonzalez in 9 at-bats tonight. That's the way I'm going on my value, Jason. What are you looking at on your value card tonight?
Yeah, looking at this Giants and Diamondbacks game, it's Matt Peacock versus Alex Wood. And if you guys saw 5 days ago, Peacock was injured, went just 1.2 innings pitched. and now he's back out again. So not sure he's 100%. We'll see what happens there. And then you also have Wood, who hasn't looked nearly as good as he did earlier in the season. And I say this every single time, the Diamondbacks do profile well against the lefties, but every time I say it, they just don't show up as much as I would hope. But still, I'm looking at the over-under. It's 8 right now, and there's going to be 23 miles per hour winds going towards center field. At over 8, I just think the ball is going to carry enough in this game to where both teams should be able to get 4 runs and cash this over ticket. So the value play over 8 on the Giants and Diamondbacks game.
There you go. Some value there. Fast food. Kyle, what you got tonight? What are we digging on? Where's that value?
I got to say, man, I love our damn chat box on the show. It has just turned into an absolute blast, these guys on the show. So just, to digress a little bit, I love this chat box. They know us too well. It's absolutely fun. So thank you to all you guys. So on my value menu tonight, I was going to go Royals in the first 5 because they have absolutely smashed Boyd. 75 of 230, the projected lineup tonight, including Whit Merrifield. It's absolutely absurd. It's the craziest batter versus pitcher number you see. 25 of 56 lifetime. That's a big sample size for a hitter versus a pitcher. A 446 average, 9 doubles, a home run. So if you can get a bases prop over 1.5 bases for Whit Merrifield tonight off of Boyd, I actually like that quite a bit. But if you look at Keller's, who we don't love all that much here, but his last 5 starts against Detroit, 34, 43, 52, 28, and 21 in fantasy points. But I'm going to take the Royals for the full game at minus 145. Reason being, is Keller beatable? Absolutely. They should be able to hit Boyd, and once Boyd is out, what do we get? We get one of the worst bullpens in baseball. They were the worst bullpen for a while. They're now the 3rd worst. I think the Royals win that game minus 145. I like that for a value play. I also like the Padres full game, and it's a similar scenario. The Padres team total is at 6.5 at most books when you look. It's absolutely insane. You've got Gomber versus the Karate Kid. Karate Kid's still getting his sea legs this year. He had the injury. By the way, the Karate Kid is Daniel-san Lamet. It's Daniel-san. If you don't know what that is, you're too young. Go watch the damn Karate Kid and understand Miyagi. But Daniel-san is certainly the better pitcher than Gomber. Gomber can sometimes be hot, sometimes be cold. But that Padres lineup versus lefties in Colorado where it's over 90 degrees, I mean, the ball should absolutely sail tonight. I'm taking the Padres full game simply because of this. Could both starting pitchers get rocked a little bit early? Sure. You've got the best bullpen ERA in baseball in the San Diego Padres, and you've got the 2nd worst ERA bullpen in Colorado. So I think you're actually getting a cheap price, minus 145 for the full game for the Padres. I will take that for some value. I'll also take that Bellinger plus 300 home run prop. And I saw some questions about NBA. We'll throw this in the value menu. I'm taking Ben Simmons on Donnie 76ers. This number is way too low. This is a number that he has sailed past by almost double digits in 2 of the 3 games, over 28.5 points, rebounds, and assists. I do like the Sixers tonight, and I do like Ben Simmons to get over that 28.5.
Ooh, that is news to my ears. I mean, we've got everything going in the chat box to people getting married or saying people getting married to Cobra Kai out here packing it. 388 people here in the chat box on a Monday having some fun, because let's get to some best bets on the Major League Baseball board tonight before we cover the entire board here with the odds lightning round. Hey, I already told you, I like Minnesota Twins. That was my value play. No doubt in my mind they're going to get the 4 runs. Juice was a little bit high. Maybe couldn't get it. So we're going to level the playing field, so to speak. And I'm going to go against my Philadelphia Phillies. You can't bet against your favorite team. Bull. I do it all the time, and it's a very good record of going against it. I've even actually won some money on the Philadelphia Phillies this year on the team total. I'm going back to the well tonight. The Phillies are going out west to play the Dodgers. This might have been a little bit different. Kyle knows out west. You're looking at 60 degrees in Oakland, 60 degrees in San Francisco, and every once in a while you get a cool night in Los Angeles, low 70s, high 60s. 88 degrees at first pitch. That ball is going to be flying out tonight. And Spencer Howard with a high xFIP number, which means that ball is going to be in the air. If you're telling me I'm only getting 8 at-bats tonight, Spencer Howard's only going 5 innings, and what's the ceiling for Spencer Howard here? 5 innings, 2 earned runs. So I'm already at 2 with 5 to go. And also keep in mind, the Philadelphia Phillies at the plate are hot. This isn't one of those games where you go, Oh, boy, the Phillies look terrible out here. They're going to sport a pretty good lineup. And as I always like to say, you need a running mate. So who's to say if the Phillies can't get 4 runs tonight? That is the perfect scenario because you know the Dodgers will be able to, at least if they haven't already hit 5, have a chance to bat in the 9th inning against Hector Neris. Who doesn't want that when you're down a run? It's not Chapman coming to the game. It's not Kimbrel coming in. It's Hector Neris. We know, oh, my goodness, 1 run, 2 run, 3 runs if you need it. It might be there. I'm going with the Los Angeles Dodgers tonight. We went over most of it already, capping the game directly, but just a few points once again. If you're looking for a team with weighted on base averages going up against a righty, this is the premier team. Every single guy in the lineup can do damage. I'm looking at the lineup today. If you have the 8 hitters that we're anticipating tonight, only 1, and that's Bellinger, below the Mendoza line per se on weighted on base averages of 320. Everybody else is elevated. Spencer Howard should have some trouble tonight. Again, good pitching performance, 5 innings, 3 earned runs. I'll take it all day long. We're going Dodgers. Best bet and banker, 4.5 at the MGM Sportsbook, minus 130 is where I got it. I believe it's sitting at 135 right now, so some decent juice on that one. Didn't want to go Minnesota with that high number of 160. We're going to eat on these games. I can't wait to watch this Dodgers game play out, and as I say that, I probably won't watch the game play out. Just hope I win some money on it. Take it away, Jason. Where's your best bet tonight?
Well, we can start with Minnesota. I do have that 3.5 at minus 145 on the team total. That was an official play for me. You could still get a 4 at FanDuel or a PointsBet at around minus 125. So if you still want to tail this and you can't get that 3.5 at a reasonable price, you can get that 4. At worst, you're going to just push and you're not going to lose any money. So you can't hate me on that. But we can talk about this game just a little bit. But Donnie already kind of went over it. Marco Gonzalez on the mound. He's a lefty pitcher. And while the Twins, their lineup has been destroying lefties. You have Donaldson, Cruz, Refsnyder, Sano, Larnack, Jeffers, Simmons. It's a 280 ISO in the last 30 days and a weighted OBA of 410 for the projected lineup. So they're absolutely smashing lefties, and Gonzalez came back from injured list. He looked good in that first game. Then the second game he came back and did not look nearly as good. And that he looked kind of like he looked throughout the entire season before he went on the IL. So fully expect the Twins to get to 4 runs. Obviously think they'll get to 5 or 6, but I am on the over 3.5 for the team total at minus 145 via MGM. But again, FanDuel and PointsBet, you can get a 4 at around minus 125 range. But the other bet that you guys can tell, the Cardinals minus 0.5 in the first 5. It's at minus 120 right now via William Hill. Braxton Garrett on the mound for Miami, 16.1% of strikeouts and nearly 13% of walks in the last 30 days. This Cardinals lineup, they've destroyed lefties as well. A 283 ISO and a weighted OBA of 384 in the last 30 days as well. So you got Edman, Arenado, O'Neill, Molina. They've all destroyed. Also, Paul DeJong back in the lineup for the Cardinals. He's another solid power bat against the lefty as a right-handed batter. Doesn't have any stats in the last 30 days, of course, but he's looked pretty good there. The batting average of balls in play is 400. Ground balls just at 28.9% for the Cardinals in the last 30 days. So they're getting the ball in play. They're putting the ball in the air and with high exit velocity as well. So I do think the Cardinals do some damage there. And, of course, Wainwright on the mound. For the Cardinals, he's not walking many batters, and as long as he can kind of get through that first inning, shouldn't really have much damage against the Marlins, who are hitting a 157 ISO and a 325 weighted OBA, striking out nearly 23% of the time and walking under 10% of the time against righties in the last 30 days. So again, Cardinals minus 0.5 in the first 5 at minus 120 is the other official play.
Boom! It's all out there right now. Now we're going to get to Kyle. But before we get to Kyle, don't make me go out here and host a hockey show just to
come on. I was going to say,
up as the resident hockey guy out here. I mean, hey, I am all in on hockey. I just learned the game over the past 2 weeks, and it's pretty easy. Kyle, take it away. Best bets and bankers.
Yep. Hockey show coming up at here about 12:15 Eastern. We'll have our hockey show. Yeah. It's going to be real good. No, I'm going to go with that Dodgers minus 0.5 in the first 5 at minus 115 is my official play. I just think they jump out early. I know they don't have the greatest pitcher on the mound tonight, but obviously we trust the Dodgers lineup more than those Phillies. I'm sorry, Donnie. I know that hurts. I think they get it done in the first 5 innings. That's my official play today. And I do apologize. They were asking for Nerfies in that value menu. My goodness, I forgot. Tampa Bay, Glasnow, White Sox, Lynn. I think that's your Nerf. That's the best Nerfie spot. It's probably steamed up in that minus 185 to minus 200 range. But if I was going to take a Nerfie, that's the pitching matchup I would focus on.
There you go. So get through there, some best bets and bankers getting through the card. Now let's get to the odds lightning round, hit the rest of some of these games, see if we can find some value, and at least maybe tip the scales if you guys are watching out there in the chat box, had an idea that you were leaning towards a game, maybe something that we say makes some sense. 951, 952. Brubaker on the mound versus Lester, the lefty. 119s, 120s across the board, 8.5s up to 9s here, Jason, as a total. And just when I'm getting back into saying I want to take the Pittsburgh Pirates because they're sneaky, the fighting Colin Moran's, the dude is already questionable again after coming back. I need that guy back in the lineup because I'm telling you, we're going to be firing on some Pittsburgh team totals that are like 3.5 at plus money numbers. But quick thoughts here on this game between Lester and Brubaker in Pittsburgh or in Washington here, Jason.
Yeah, look, the Pirates, you're right. They're a really sneaky offense against lefties. Lester has not been a great lefty, although he's kind of been able to get out of damage a little bit. But, yeah, you got Frazier, Hayes, Reynolds, Stallings. They all have some solid power against lefties. Also, Tom, as a lefty, has some power against lefties as well. So I do think Pittsburgh, it's about a pick 'em, so they're not really a live underdog, but they're kind of an underdog when you look at just being the Pirates versus Nationals. So I do like the Pirates around that pick 'em at in the first 5, and I think under 5 in the first 5 because somehow the Pirates always find a way not to score enough runs when they have guys on base, and Lester seems to be that guy that's able to kind of work away from the damage. So under 5 in the first 5, but I think I like the Pirates in the first 5 better on the money line.
There you go. We'll keep moving it down the list. Baltimore and Cleveland here. We're going to skip over this one, Kyle, because we think it's going to be Kramer on the mound, but it's still undecided, and some books aren't posting a line, so we'll skip over that one. Let's get to Mr. X-FIP himself for the Cincinnati Reds, Mr. Gutierrez on the mound versus the lefty Lauer. 135s across the board, totals of 9 across the board here. And let me just take a quick sneak peek here. I did not call the hotline tonight, but it looks like the retractable roof's supposed to be open and 70 degrees up there in Milwaukee. Any thoughts, Kyle, between Cincinnati and Milwaukee? Because I actually had a Cincinnati team total here circled as well, and also a look at Milwaukee. So an interesting game.
You took the words right out of my mouth. These were 2 really close ones to making my list. I do like that Reds team total. I mean, I'm telling you, is within just a C hair of making that list. So I do think that Reds team total is viable. The problem is, if you're going to bet the Reds, we've talked about it a million times, you've got to do it in the first 5 innings. You cannot rely on that bullpen. It's the worst bullpen in baseball. So if you're betting the Reds, it needs to be team totals or those first 5 innings. I do think both of those are in play. Both lineups are in play. This game should play to an over. If I was going to make an official bet on this game, it'd first be Reds team total and probably second overall in the game. And I don't think you're crazy by taking a little sniff at that Milwaukee Brewers team total. Both lineups are absolutely live in DFS today.
No, they certainly are. And by the way, to be honest, the Milwaukee Brewers did be dirty on Friday. I called all day, and they said, hey, man, we're open for business. Roof's open. And the game got started. It was closed. I really wanted to call that hotline back and be like, let me speak to your manager over there. But, I mean, come on, man. How you guys could do me like that? And then I lay off the Angels, which, again, it still won. It was fantastic. But then the Angels, the Angels game in Arizona, that was supposed to be roof closed. I'm watching, and it's open. I mean, I think they're just playing with me right now. Like, he thinks it's open. We're going to close this bad boy right up on him, but it still worked out in the end. But even when they tell you, hey, we're open for business and it's closed, like, hey, man, somebody's pulling the strings over here on this one. Tampa Bay, Chicago White Sox here, Jason. Glasnow and Lynn, 7.5s across the board. Roughly a pick 'em. Look, Tampa Bay gets no respect out here, Jason. No respect in these streets.
Yeah, it's tough. And like you said, the Rays probably the better team. Obviously, they've been on a big winning streak in like the last month now. Like I think like 26-5 or whatever the case might be. So yeah, I like the Rays here. I do agree with Kyle on the no runs first inning if you want to look in that direction, but I'm sure that's already juiced up because I'm looking at the under, which is
someone said minus 130. They said minus 130 in the chat on FanDuel. I was shocked by that. Isn't that crazy? Yeah. I think that's
it is because the under in the first 5 is 3.5. So yeah, if you get the no runs first inning at minus 130, definitely take a stab at that. But you got Lynn and Glasnow. Obviously, I think Glasnow's a better pitcher. Lynn his xFIP's a little high at 4.48, but he's allowed 1 earned run or less in his last 4 starts. So he's going deep for the White Sox. He looks really good out there. He's getting out of trouble even when he's in trouble. So that's what makes him that 8th pitcher that everyone loves. Even when he gets in damage, he's getting out of it. So I do like the under in the first 5. It is a low number, so I'm not recommending it, just saying I like it, and also agree with the Reds to win the game at minus 115.
Me and Kyle usually have a joke here during football season, and maybe it's going to continue if Drew Lock does play for the Denver Broncos. But the reason why I'm bringing this up, as Drew Lock throws interceptions, we're like, Jesus Christ, Drew Lock, just stop doing that. I look at Boyd and Keller tonight on the mound, and a lefty goes up against Kansas City, anybody that goes up against Detroit. And you look at this as a DFS guy, as a gambler, as a guy who wants to take team totals. And it's like, there's a reason why you never pop the show on. And Donnie's like, boy, I can't wait to get after the Detroit team total tonight. The whole team stinks every single game. How do I get you're supposed to be able to look at games objectively, but every time I try to look, no matter what the pitcher is on the mound, Detroit is the most horrendous team ever assembled, Kyle.
Yes, it really is. And look, we're going over it now. We've made fun of Brad Keller plenty of times on this show, but he's certainly the better pitcher tonight. Again, Boyd's, and he's the ace for Detroit. Boyd's their ace. He's the best they've got. And we've got the third worst bullpen in baseball. Oh, yeah, this team, by the way, is a combined 75 of 230, a 326 career average off of him. Then you bring in that bullpen. So for me, I'm looking at Royals minus 145. I think that line is short, and I took the Royals on this. I love the lineup. Whit Merrifield, I discussed it earlier. It's one of the craziest batter versus pitcher lines you're ever going to see. 25 of 56 lifetime off of Matthew Boyd. That's a 446 in 56 at-bats. That's a big sample size. Salvador Perez has homered twice. You could, if you want to go home run prop him, you can. Carlos Santana has homered off him. You can go there. The Royals should win this game. We've got 8 of their 9 hitters with an advantage of 38% or better. I like the Royals full game. I did it full game just because I'm going to tack on and kind of pick on that bullpen. Minus 145. Give me the Royals.
And by the way, Akbar in the chat box here saying we're going to miss Civil War Leg, who, yes, as we know, Civil War Leg did retire in the NFL. That is Alex Smith. But I'm going to miss even more about that, Kyle, is the fact that people would tell me he's a good quarterback. So
I know.
Maybe the argument
with us. They would fight till the end of time to tell us he was the better option than Taylor Heineke. Like, you people smoking peyote? What the hell is going on here?
Exactly. It is what it is on this one. Let's keep moving forward. 957, 958. Garrett and Wayne right here, Jason. Miami and St. Louis. St. Louis fading fast here. But you get to look at a game Miami squad, as I guess, but I don't know if I want to put my money on Garrett, but also Wainwright showing up at a minus 200 in New Jersey. Say it ain't so, Jason. What are you talking about in this game between Miami and St. Louis?
Yeah, look, St. Louis coming off a really, really bad series against the Cubs. I think they come back strong now, and obviously with Wainwright on the mound, he's that kind of one guy that can kind of settle things down and get the Cardinals back on the right track. Offensively, they should really do some damage. That's why I have an official play. Cardinals minus 0.5 in the first 5. They've destroyed lefties, and Garrett just another lefty that will get in the way of the Cardinals, who will destroy him. 283 ISO, 384 weighted OBA with 20% Ks and 8.4% walks should do enough damage against Garrett there. And so I love the Cardinals here. I think Wainwright gets the job done. So Cardinals minus 0.5 in the first 5 is an official play.
There you go. All right, we'll keep moving down the list here. We're going to skip over. Kyle already hit on that San Diego, Colorado game. So we're going to go with the game that we haven't talked about much today, the Angels and the Oakland Athletics. Good one here. Bundy versus Manea, 8.5 across the board. About a 140 favorite, depending on where you're shopping at, for the hometown team, the Oakland Athletics. But here's the discrepancy that we talked about before the show. We're talking about 88 degrees down in Los Angeles. This game, by the time it ends, Kyle, going to be in the 50s in Oakland. So some chilly temperatures in a pitcher's ballpark. Is that still enough to get over the hump here? Because I know we like to fade Bundy. And as we know, you can stack right-handed batters with that Angels lineup versus Manea today.
Yeah, this one's tough. I slightly lean Oakland. I was actually surprised when I started looking at the splits and what some of these hitters have done off of Bundy, because we love to fade Bundy and we love to give him a bunch of crap. But he's actually been pretty good against most of these hitters. The A's hitter who has had the best success in his career off Dylan Bundy isn't Matt Olson. It's not Matt Chapman. It's not Laureano. It's not any of these. It's Tony Kemp at the bottom of the order. I mean, that's what we're looking at here.
Jeez.
So the Angels, I know. And that was the thing that threw me off, because at first when I looked at it, I'm like, oh, Manea versus Bundy, just give me the A's all day long. But as I start to break it down, too, even Bundy's last 5 starts against the A's, his last start was really, really bad, and the A's absolutely tore him apart. He had 1 fantasy point. But before that, we're talking 61, 48, 29, 39, 59, 48. I'm just going down the list. Dylan Bundy's actually, the projected lineup tonight's only 22 of 107 lifetime, a career 206 average. So even though we like to pick on Bundy, and I do think the A's are the better team, the Angels might be a sneaky plus money spot here in the full game, plus 130. I don't mind taking a little bit of risk. I wouldn't put a lot of money on it, but the Angels are a live dog tonight.
Keep it moving here as we go. Arizona and San Francisco, which San Francisco is the bane of my existence today, but nobody needs to know why or how, but they just are today. Very upset with this ball club, but if we take a look at the lineup here, Jason, coming in, Mike Peacock is a righty. They got some pretty good lefties that can do some damage here with San Francisco. Now, again, this game's going to be played in the 50s right across the bay from Oakland. But when you take a look at 66 plate appearances for lefties against Peacock this year, 394 weighted on base average and ISO power number 311. Talkman, Yastrzemski, Crawford, Belt, Duggar, all expected to be in the lineup tonight. They should be able to do damage tonight.
Yeah, I always talk about the Giants. They're a team that they could do whatever they want against lefties, against righties. They can put out so many different position players for platoon purposes, and that's what makes them so good. So many
jokes for that. I'm sorry. So many jokes I had lined up for that. I love you, Jason. Keep going.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, but it is true though. They can really throw out anyone, and they can do some damage offensively. And Peacock, he's been really bad, like you said, against lefties, and should definitely see some damage there from the Giants. And like I said, the wind is going to be blowing out to center field over 20 miles per hour. So while it's not, the hottest of days, the wind should definitely carry the ball out just a little bit more, even in that ballpark. And looking at the over 8 there, it just seems so low for two pitchers that really haven't been that great recently. So again, I would still like the over 8, and I do think the Giants minus 0.5 in the first 5 would get there as well.
No, certainly. And I can see that there. It's, a typical day in the Bay Area. It'll be really chilly late, but those bats have certainly been hot at home. Not yesterday, San Francisco Giants, but they certainly have been. Let's clear the bases here and get out of here. A nice little compact show, about 40 minutes. A lot of people, close to 400 watching in the chat box. Awesome stuff from you guys here on a Monday. Now we just need to cash these tickets in. So let's go over what we had on the card today. Start with me first. Value menu wager play. These are late night games. And again, I joke. I'm an old man. I will not see these finish, but I do wake up in the middle of the night and have to go to the bathroom quite a bit because I'm old. And that's what I do. I check the scores. Maybe we'll see a little atom bomb going off later tonight. But the Minnesota Twins value play 3.5 minus 145. It is a lot juicier than what it was in the morning. Reason why I didn't make it my play of the day. So I flipped it over to another West Coast game, the Philadelphia Phillies and the Los Angeles Dodgers. I'm going Dodgers over in this game tonight. And that is listed right on my board here, 4.5 minus 130 at BetMGM. That's the one I'm going hard for tonight. I think it's going to cash in. Jason, bring up here your best bet bankers and also your value menu wagers today.
Yeah, so the value menu wager would be the over 8 for the Giants and D-backs game. Just talked about that one, and yeah, I like it. I think that both teams can get to 4. Diamondbacks are better against lefties, although I continue to say it, and then they just put up duds. But still like it there, and I still think the ball carries. So that's the value play. But for the big wagers, the big official plays, Cardinals minus 0.5 in the first 5. I think the Cardinals bounce back from a really bad series versus the Cubs, and they do some damage versus the Marlins offensively, and I think they'll pitch just fine with Wainwright on the mound. Also on the Twins, over 3.5 on the team total at minus 145. Obviously, that's now went up and shifted over to about minus 160. So if you can't get that anymore, take that 4 at FanDuel or PointsBet. It's around minus 125, and at least you can't lose if we get those 4 runs. So those are my 3 plays, 2 official plays in the value wager.
There you go. Kyle, what you got tonight, man?
Love it. I'm going to take the Dodgers minus 0.5 in the first 5 at minus 115 as my official play of the day. If we're going to the value menu, I'm going to take the Royals full game at minus 145, the Padres full game at minus 145. I like a little home run prop on Cody Bellinger at plus 300. I also have a little tiny sprinkle on Devers as well. And for you NBA guys, I'll take Ben Simmons over 28.5 points, rebounds, and assists at minus 114. And I love that Nerfy on that Tampa Bay Chicago White Sox game.
There we go. Another show here for a Monday right here on sportsbookreview.com. Remember to get into that contest. Click that link above right below where it says Top Chat, SBR Sports Picks in yellow. Click on that little heart there. That is the contest. Free of charge to get into. Thank you guys for all the support and the love that you gave us today. We will be back tomorrow on a Tuesday to get after it once again. I'm Donnie Seymour for Jason Radowitz and Kyle Purviance. We are the sportsbookreview.com Major League Baseball team. This was your show for Monday. Good luck on those wagers.